Hello, everyone. Welcome back to SMAdulting. We are on our 8th episode. You are listening to me, Shah, Joyce, and Aina. Say hi, guys.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Okay, very, very good. For this session, our 8th episode, we're calling this A Case of Autonomy. Essentially, we'll be expanding some topics that we touched upon in the last chillcast with the intention to walk through the things we need, pay for, and utilize to be able to do things on our own. I'll put an asterisk next to the words our own because really nobody is alone and we function communally for the most part. Us disabled people, especially so. Nobody is an island, no matter how edgy you put yourself to be. So put away your My Chemical Romance albums, your emo stuff, your emo haircut. We want to see your eyes. Maybe not right now though. And I'm just gonna start with a few very, very, very important questions. I feel, Joyce and Aina, because we're talking about autonomy, it means self movement as well. Primarily, it means moving by yourself. When were you ever ambulatory? And for those people who don't know what ambulatory means, it means could you sort of walk around by yourself?
Sort of until 5 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and then that was it. Yeah.
Okay, and Aina, no, right?
I did until um 8, was it 7 years old? 7 to 8 years old,
Uh-huh.
and then no more.
Mm-hmm. I was ambulatory until my late teens and pretty much ended up having to use the wheelchair predominantly because I started getting weaker and weaker. But before that, in my early teens and my childhood, whenever somebody just knocks into me, I will fall down. It's like an automatic thing because very, very weak. So knowing that you were ambulatory at some point, do you remember the transition from where and when you could walk to suddenly, I wouldn't say suddenly, like to not being able to move around by yourself and having to depend on other people and getting used to this new mode of functioning?
I think I started walking at around 6 months as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really sort of like normal at the time because I could walk, but I couldn't crawl.
Mm-hmm.
The milestone was like kind of messed up. Mm. It wasn't your usual baby milestones. It was kind of a weird milestone. Like you're achieving milestones that is not consistent. Um, so walking was a very difficult thing
Mm-hmm.
as far as I could remember when I was young. Um, I could like walk a few steps and then I would just like collapse on the ground, just like fall down.
Mm-hmm.
And usually my head would get bruises because I cannot control my body. So it just kind of like, it's like a piece of wood just falling flat on the surface.
Yeah, yeah, I know how you feel. My parents used to tell people that when I fell as a child, it wouldn't be like your legs buckled. I would fall straight like a tree. So it's like yelling timber and then smash. So I think
Yes.
aside from probably mild concussion and brain damage, I think
Yeah.
the front portion and the top portion of my head is so reinforced that if I headbutt anyone, they would be in pain for weeks. Because
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how
that
bones
sort
that's
of
work.
thing. Yep. So I was kind of like struggling to walk a lot at that age, from young, and then walking was like a huge chore. It's like very slow. Like one step takes about, I think, around 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine the pace that I was going at. And then after that, as I grew up a little more, I think around four or something. Yeah, the walking was not that as slow, but it was still slow. And then my mom was frustrated with it. So what happened was she ended up stepping on my left knee, and then she just straight stepped into it, and then my left knee kind of like bent backwards into. So yeah, then that's when I stopped walking. So yeah, it was sort of like 4 and 5. I don't know if it broke or not then, but I was in pain for 1 week,
Mm-hmm.
and then my left knee is kind of like misshapen due to the impact of her stepping on it. Yeah.
Okay, that's wild.
Yeah.
I
Every
mean, you can
time
like literally your your knee snap inside, and you can literally feel it snap.
I feel like every time we talk about your family, we come across little bits of criminal negligence,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like after a while we should have enough to put like people in jail. It's a terrible thing to say, but it's true. Um,
Yeah, but I mean, it's already decades already, so no,
I
I
mean,
kind
it's
of.
the trauma is there. Okay, but back to the the thing that you were saying. You fell, you got severely injured, and it's still you can see the injury right now, right?
Yeah, because she stepped on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of like you could say that she deliberately stepped on the knee of a 4-year-old just because the kid couldn't walk the way she wanted.
I did undergo something like that because I had a
Oh,
habit of tiptoeing,
okay.
Oh.
and
Oh, you could tiptoe.
I had it's a really bad habit, and I don't know why, but I remember sort of being whipped. Like every time I tiptoe, there'll be like a whip on my ankle, like don't do that.
Well,
So I stopped doing it.
okay.
Like
Hmm.
it wasn't immediate. It was after a few times. It's like okay, that shit hurts. Stop it. Um, so that was effectively the last time you walked, or that didn't stop you from sort of moving around? Joyce,
Bye. I think I connection.
disappear again? What about Aina? While we're waiting for Joyce to come back.
I think I'll stop walking 7 or 8. I can't really remember.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had this one incident. I also fall down and it hit, you know what, my chin very bad. So I had a few cuts. And then some kena jahit. Very, very bad lah. I think that's the worst fall down that I ever had. Because
Mm-hmm.
I hit the piano. I remember I was trying to 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 to, to step on the stairs or something.
Mm-hmm.
Then the piano was at the corner. And yep, of course, the head fall down first. So kena my head.
Okay. Wild.
Hi, I'm back.
Yep.
Uh,
Very, very.
yep,
Okay, let me just
yep.
adjust your volume again. Okay. So
Okay.
Aina was talking about what happened with the piano?
The piano, nothing. I'm the one
Like
who did it.
yeah, but how did that happen? Did you walk into it?
I can't remember. It happened during at the kindergarten time.
Uh-huh.
So I can't remember. I think I was trying to go somewhere or to reach something,
Mm-hmm.
and the piano was at the corner. It was at just the side of my things that I want to reach. And yeah,
Oh,
as usual, try to reach macam, like pretend to be quiet, but then panic.
that always happens. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I have this hubris in me that I'm like, okay, if I'm feeling strong today, I will do everything. Um, and then give myself an injury. It's like, I can do this, it's fine. And then injury, oh no. It's how I sprained my toe, like my foot, a couple of times because I was like, no, no, I don't need to ask for help because asking for help is kind of embarrassing and kind of an annoying thing. But we'll get to that in a bit. Um, I wanted to ask Joyce a question, but I forgot the question now.
You asked me about whether if I walked after that,
Yeah.
and then I got disconnected.
Thanks,
Sorry.
internet. So
Sorry.
did you continue walking or was it like this reinforced belief like, hey, don't even bother, don't try?
Actually, I did attempt it too because my mom would whip me into doing that. So, he forced me to walk around, stuff like that. So I do walk around. I think at around the early age of 5, I think after that, I kind of like fell down in front of the TV. After that,
Uh-huh.
I stopped walking after that. I don't know what happened, but the body just kind of like shut down.
Yeah, that also
Stop
happens.
walking.
When I was ambulant, I remember walking around and then suddenly my legs were like, no, I don't feel like it, and then boom, fall. If it's
Yeah,
if if I'm being in a position where I'm lucky, um, it wouldn't be devastating, as in my clothes would not get ruined, because, if that happens in the bathroom or when you're somewhere with a lot of mud, that's a terrible thing to happen because now you're dirty. It's horrible. Um, it also comes from sort of like being ambulatory when you're young. There's a lot of things you can do, so people assume you can do it, even though there comes a point in time where your body just, no, you can't do it anymore. Like you used to be able to do it, now you can't. Um,
yeah.
I have a story of this one particular teacher in Champaka College. I was there in my teens, and we were coming back from the cafeteria to go to class because the bell rang and it was time to go. I fell on the way back to class, and the people around me, my friends, were all trying to help. And then this teacher comes by, right? And he looks at me on the ground, doesn't offer to help, asks what happened. So I explain I fell down because I have spinal muscular atrophy. And then he looked at me dead in the eyes as if I was lying. And he went, but you could walk yesterday. I have never wanted to punch a person so bad in my life. At that point, I was already instructing my friends, okay, bring a chair. You have to carry me this way, that way. And together we will sit myself on the seat. So we did. And the teacher was not helpful. Like, if I find him now, if I remember his name, and if I remember his face, because I don't, I will punch him in the face.
You said Champaka College.
Yes.
Which one? The one at Shiraz?
Yeah. So Champaka College is a very hoity-toity kind of school.
Is it the
Where
one at the top of the hill?
mm-hmm, where they sort of sell themselves as like this fancy place for education, but they're really not. It's just a bunch of spoiled brat kids.
Wait,
And
wait.
a person, a datin, who is so full of herself. Um, I would love to slander them more, but this is not the conversation we're having today.
No, I just want to say that I've been there.
Ah, yeah, like
Yeah, I was there. I was there for I think for the half of my standard 6, and then after that my mom threw me straight into the international side, year 1 for
uh
four
huh.
months
Mm-hmm. Why'd you leave?
because my mom pulled me out. She didn't want to let me continue
Okay.
because she
Uh,
felt that I was a trouble, so she just
what?
stopped everything. Yeah, so
Okay, to be
my
fair
school would
though,
stop there.
Chimpaka's not that great. Like
Like, it's overhyped, I know.
it's super overhyped. Like if you want to send your kids to school, don't bother. She at a certain point, the Datin wanted to open a finishing school for girls because the girls didn't wear enough skirts and went dainty. Like, lady, you have 5 sons, deal with it.
Oh.
But again, we're not talking about slander and schools and stuff. We're talking about being ambulant, being autonomous. Um, can you guys tell me how things changed as you grew older and what kind of help you needed and how? Because as you sort of aged up, you also became a bigger human being. How did that affect how you went around your world and how your parents dealt with it as well?
Mm, okay. For my part, because when I was young, if I ever fell down,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a big sin, like a huge sin.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I fall down, I would get slapped or caned. So falling down for me is like a terrible thing. I was conditioned to feel like if I fall down, it's my failure, you know. So yeah. So after I stopped walking, I moved around with my hands. It's like sort of sitting on the ground and dragging yourself around with one hand.
Because the trauma is now that if even if you try to walk, even if you had attempted it, falling down would be, like you said, a big sin. So might as well not try.
Mm,
Mm-mm.
actually, that didn't stop me from trying
Mm-hmm.
because uh, at that age, I just wanted to please my mom because she really made me felt that I couldn't walk, so I was a filler.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want her to feel I was a filler. I wanted validation. So I just tried my best. I could still stand at the time, but it wasn't for long. Or like, I think the longest would be 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Then the legs would just give way again.
Yeah, because you're tired.
Mm-mm.
Your your legs
Yeah.
cannot. It's like it physically cannot. Um,
Yeah.
do you
So it was a struggle.
uh-huh. Do you have sort of any resentments from that age or anything that you brought from there to your adult life?
I think the resentment started after I hit puberty.
Mm-hmm.
It was when I started being able to think for myself, and I think I think it started when I was like when I hit my teens, and then after that, leading up to adulthood. But now it's just like when I look back, I'm like, okay, so I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk, but it's not my fault because it was my mom who couldn't deal with it.
Mm.
So right now, it's like the resentment is not there anymore. It's just like I feel sorry about the situation. Like, you just feel pity for my mom that
Mm-hmm.
she couldn't deal with it. And yeah, I just felt like if I could go back to that point in life, I would tell myself, hey, it's okay. It's not your fault.
I
Don't
mean,
take it too hard.
there's so many things we want to tell our past selves. Oh, it hurts. What about Aina? What are the well? I guess that showed
The-
like what happened, but how did you go from sort of being chastised for trying to walk to being in a wheelchair? What was the change?
I don't remember the change, but I think I just go with the flow. I remember before I used wheelchair, I used stroller.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing I used. After I cannot walk, and my big sister used to sit on me. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the perception of people like, hey, dah besar and you're still on stroller. I'm like, oh my god, that's the thing that most annoyed me. I think
Yeah.
it's like you can't explain to people. It's not easy to explain, and
Uh-huh.
you're just like, whatever lah.
I mean, even if you try to explain it, I feel like they don't understand enough about human
Yeah.
physiology. Like a lot of people, and I hate to say this, but a lot of people don't know how the human body works. A lot of people don't know how their own body works.
Mm-mm.
Like, for the most part, a lot of people are not in tune with what they put in through their body and will ask questions like, oh, why do I have rash? Why do I have this? Why am I so tired? I'm like, if you knew yourself a little bit more, if you knew your muscle groups, if you knew how nutrition works, maybe you wouldn't have all these problems. I mean, no, that's a lie. You would still have these problems, but at least you would know why.
Yeah,
Um,
and you won't ask silly questions.
mhm. Um, what what did your parents feel like when confronted with this?
I think they're used to it already. Because of course they also like you can see that they're a bit down, but then nah, after a while it's just like a normal question set being asked. So we just if we can answer we answer. If not, just ignore.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point of explaining to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it,
Absolutely.
oh yeah, I've been getting used to being stared and asked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about
I think
Joyce?
the one yeah.
Yeah, I want to know the transition because you went from being told that it is a sin for you to fall down. What was the transition from not being able to walk into wheelchair? Like, did somebody have to push you? Did you push yourself? Did you start with motorized wheelchair? What was the progression? I'll talk about mine in a bit. Mine is
Yep.
less dramatic.
The progression from you know being unable to walk from age of 5 after was actually pretty bad because one, not being able to walk is already a huge okay,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mhm.
two, having a wheelchair in the house is out of the question because for my family it's taboo to see a wheelchair in the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Mhm.
it's like the world has ended if they see me using a wheelchair. Okay, so okay, why I say that is because last time with my mom's friend, because her friend has a daughter with cerebral palsy,
Mm-hmm.
so her friend saw me on the ground moving around, and she asked my mom, "Why do you let your daughter move around on the ground like that? Why don't you let her use a wheelchair?" So my mom, being a person who wants to save face, oh, she likes to be on the ground. She likes to move like that. And so my mom's friend, she recommended her to let me use a wheelchair. Her husband plopped me on the wheelchair, and my mom's face instantly became as black as thunder.
What?
And yeah, he hated seeing me on a wheelchair because it felt like it confirmed that I was a disabled person.
That
So
is
after that
wild.
happened, when we returned home, my mom was so mad at me that she kept on hitting.
That
Yeah,
is
and
wild.
she
Okay.
said a lot of things, very bad things, and she even badmouthed her friend because she said that her friend was jealous that I was normal, and that her friend wanted to force me to use a wheelchair. Like, I'm just like, just quiet, and I didn't say anything because I was still small and scared.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah, so using a wheelchair wasn't wasn't possible in the household. So I ended up moving around on the ground
Mm-hmm.
with my hands. So yeah, one of the side effects of doing that was that my right hand, the elbow is kind of like twisted because due to too much
Oh
weight put
yeah,
on it.
because you keep on pushing it.
Yeah, so yeah. But that's how I moved around in the house. And as my scoliosis progressed throughout the years, it became very tough to do that. But I still carried on until I successfully managed to get my spine surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's how I survived throughout the years
Mm-hmm.
on the
So
floor.
so at
So,
no point were you allowed to go out, especially since you mentioned that you were ambulant up until the age of
Mhm.
4 and then you just stopped walking? Were you, and for want of a better word, were you shut in?
most of the time, you could say like 98% of the time. 2% of the time was when she felt that she needed to bring me out, then she would bring me out. If like for the rest of the 98%, you were locked in the house with all the curtains closed, the doors closed, the grill locked, and everything.
Okay, when
Okay,
she,
wait.
oh my,
When
okay,
she bring it out, how does she do it? Is it with
yeah,
wheelchair?
Okay. So you see, there's one very funny thing about her.
Uh-huh.
She has a small kid wheelchair. Okay? But she
Uh-huh.
keeps it in the storeroom. She
Uh-huh.
keeps it in the storeroom, and then she only uses it when she needs to bring me out.
So you could have used a wheelchair the entire time.
Yeah.
Yes, but she didn't let me use it because she said that it wasn't necessary. So she only used it when she saw the need to take me out. Because at that point, I was too big for her to carry anymore.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna be upfront and say it. People who are intent on having children, if you want to have children, be real with yourself. If you're not prepared to have disabled children, don't have children. Okay? It's for your mental health and it's for their future mental health because we don't need this kind of bullshit in our lives. If you're not prepared for disabled children, do not have children.
Yeah.
I'm being very serious right now. I know a lot of people are like, how dare you take away our. I'm just suggesting. Like, I
Yeah.
cannot
Or if
physically
you
go
want to have
there.
children,
Yeah. Please
or if
consider.
you want to have children, do the genetic test. You know, the
Genetic
advanced
testing is a big thing.
influenza.
I don't know how much genetic testing costs, but for SMA, I think it's about 2,000 to 3,000 ringgit, depending. But it is absolutely
Depending.
necessary.
Mm-mm.
Like, please, don't feel bad if you have to terminate an unborn child because you know for a fact that you cannot give them a good life. Please do not feel bad.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, I 100% will not feel bad if I was terminated because, first of all, I wouldn't be myself. Second of all, I wouldn't exist. It's fine.
Yeah, and then you would save the kid a lot of trouble.
Yeah. You would save the child a lot of problems. You would save yourself a lot of mental health problems. We also talk about how parents who have disabled children are very cloistered is not the word.
Depressed.
Isolated from a lot of people because they have to take care of their children. Please, if you cannot, if you don't have the wherewithal, if you don't have the gumption, if you feel like you are unable to provide, do not. We continue. So she couldn't. She really couldn't deal with you being disabled, and the thing that screwed me over was when you said she got angry at her friend because she
Yes.
thought you were normal, or
Yes.
she. That is wild to me.
Yes. That's why sometimes when I look back, it feels ridiculous. Oh, yeah. Well, let me share with you one more thing, which is like, you are going to be shocked. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
About wheelchairs, like when she was pushing me somewhere, I think I remember.
Mm-hmm.
She pushed the wheelchair, and then after that, in the middle of the pathway, there was like, you know, those grills, like it's a drain cover,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have this like gaps in between.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the front wheel went inside and then toppled over off the wheelchair. And what happened? The first thing was reaction. A reaction was he instantly got mad right on the spot and said that it's my fault that I fell down. And then she told passerbys that it's my fault that I fell down. Yeah. The first
No,
instinct was the first instinct wasn't to ask, "Are you okay?" The first instinct was to tell you that, "Why did you fell down?"
no.
Oh, calm down.
What the hell? I can't deal with this. This is way too much. Like, no. The funny thing is, your story would resonate with a lot of other people, I feel, more so than mine or Aina's, because we come from a society
Yeah.
that is very, very steeped in cultural tradition and this ideology where the sins of the father will cause the child to be disabled. Like, because you were a bad person, your kid will become disabled. Like it's a punishment to you, but they don't think that if if I am a punishment to you, what does that make me? Like you have shat on my entire existence. Thank you. Um oh, that is wild.
Actually, it's the same. It's the same for my part because my family condemned me as some kind of like they call me the black sheep of the family, and that I was. My mom called me an abomination. She said that I brought disaster to the family. My grandma told me that as well. What else? Uh, yeah, even my brother, my older brother, said I was ashamed of the family and told me that if we ever go out, don't say that I'm your brother. It's to that point.
Oh my god, I want to punch your brother in the face.
Oh, calm down.
Like what kind of bullshit behavior is this? Like your own family. Okay,
I don't
I'm
know.
not gonna lambast people for their generational trauma, but you sort of want to imagine the kind of upbringing that your mom had. I
Typical
hear,
traditional family.
yeah, there has to be something more. Like there has to be a reason why she's so negative about this. Like seriously. Also, I hear a lot about your mom, but not about your dad in this situation.
My dad wasn't really involved in my life because it was like mostly of my mom care of me, and then my dad is just like the provider of the family, and he wasn't always at home.
Oh, okay.
'Cause, stuff. Know what guys do when.
Lol.
So yeah, he wasn't really involved, but he wasn't as bad as my mom, I could say,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes he does stick up for me when she's violent. So,
Do
yeah,
you
but he wasn't really involved.
do you still keep in touch with your dad at least? Or is he now
Mm,
on your mom's side?
no, they're separated. They've already been separated since I was 10 because they couldn't get along, and then my mom blamed me for the breakup.
Mm-hmm.
That was the cause of it. And actually, the problem really was from herself because of her attitude. That couldn't put up with it anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So anyway, she shifted the blame on me, and then she told my bro the same thing. So he felt that it was my fault as well. The family broke up. But anyway, I don't really care about that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so as for my dad, I do still keep in touch with him, but not much because still due to family, complicated family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, things have changed for the better in a way. Um,
Yeah.
I think same question, but this time to Aina. I don't think we sort of finished the as you got older thing. Like, did your mom have to sort of carry you everywhere aside from the baby pram? I the
Yeah, yeah.
the people asking like, oh, that will still not pram. Like, she needs
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
When did you get your first wheelchair? And what was it? Was it like a manual wheelchair which your mom pushed, or did you sort of push yourself?
Wait, let me recap that now. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a manual wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't push by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's my mom or my dad has to push it,
Mm-hmm.
and or else my friends. Let me see. Obviously, I need help in almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's transition from last time. I used to be able to um, get up from bed by myself,
Yeah.
uh, but now no more. So the thing that has to change is from a normal bed, I change it to that's the bed that you don't have to go up. It's just a bed, and just like one hard thing to under it. What is it called? I don't know.
Oh,
It's like the Japanese
like a
bed.
tatami kind of thing.
Ah, yeah, the tatami kind of thing.
Ah, okay. Okay. Does it move? Like, can you make it taller and shorter, or is it just flat?
No. It's just there. I can't make it taller or it just stay like that.
Like, legitimately, I want that bit that can move up and down.
I wish we have that.
Oh, what is it? I think it's about 15,000 ringgit or something like that, or even more. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh, being disabled is so expensive,
so it's yeah.
y'all. And that's when
Mm.
it's like new. What if it breaks?
Uh,
Okay. You started using a wheelchair, your mom would push you, you would go to school with the wheelchair, and then your friends would push you around. Um,
mm-mm.
I ditto that, but my introduction to using the wheelchair was much later. When my friends started driving, so I had to put the wheelchairs in the car. Um, we'll get to that in a bit. I want to ask you how your friends behaved in and around your wheelchair. Like, did they go, "Hey, we're gonna put you on the chair. Um, would you allow us to use your wheelchair? We want to experience it." Like, did you have that question asked to you, or were you kind of like, "Hey, why don't you try sitting in my wheelchair and push yourself around?"
Uh, I think they did. I can't remember. I think they did. They did. They did. They wanted to try. So I said, go ahead. Then you know how I feel, right? Then
Mm,
I said, I don't mind. Go on. As long as you take a good care of my wheelchair. So
mm.
yeah, they did. I think that then only they know, oh, this is how it feels. Like you can't be free. You are not like, if you, even if you sit on the wheelchair, you can't reach things on your own.
Oh my God, yes. And if
That's
you're being pushed around in a wheelchair, it's also this precarious thing. Bringing back to Joyce's wheel getting stuck in the grate of the longkang, that's exactly the
Mm-mm.
kind of fear I have when I'm in a wheelchair and somebody else is pushing. I have to be like a hawk and look at everything and be like, pothole on the left. I am the shot caller. So if they're pushing, it cannot be too fast or too slow because I'm impatient.
Uh,
And I have to be like,
yes.
pothole on the left, go straight, go left. I want to go right. There is a mug that is interesting. Go over there. It's
And then
like
if there's a bomb,
oh my
there's a
God, is there
bomb
if
that's
there's a
more
bump,
that's the one that's the most.
This is
it's
why I
it's so
don't like
stressful.
manual wheelchairs. This is
Mm.
why I don't like being pushed. I don't
I
like sitting in manual wheelchairs. I really, really hate sitting in manual wheelchairs because I have absolutely no control of the direction that I want to go.
I agree with you. I
Mm-mm.
hated being in a manual wheelchair. I got shitty with someone for blocking the entrance to something, and I wanted to pick a fight, but I was in a wheelchair, and my friend was pushing
Yeah.
the wheelchair. I started picking a fight. My voice was raised, and then immediately she took the wheelchair and turned me around,
Oh my
so I
god.
couldn't pick a fight.
No.
Yeah, like don't fight. Go away.
Like, like, please don't. And I'm like, ah, this is bullshit. But now, because I'm in a motorized scooter, I just pick a fight. It's just like, oh, we're going now. Nobody can stop me. But also, you're at your own whim when you drive yourself. You don't have to depend on somebody else to understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I have to say that
It
I
gets
was a
tiring.
much better communicator when other people was pushing my wheelchair because I had to actually tell people what I wanted. And because of that, I come up with like this philosophy of like if you don't ask, you're never gonna get it. But I'm much worse at communicating what I want because now I don't have to depend on other people to get me to the direction where I want to go. Which is wild in a way, but at the same time it's nice. It's nice to be able to go, I'm gonna go straight. Oh, I'm gonna suddenly turn right. Provided nobody's behind me and about to crash into me. It's fine. Like you can do that. But if you were sort of having a friend push you around or your parents push you around, you have to be specific and you can't just willy-nilly change, I feel. Because it feels like being a burden. Like, oh, I wanna go over here and check this out. Oh, I changed my mind. I wanna get here now. It makes you sound kind of wishy-washy, like you don't know what you want. And I'm like, but part of being a human being is exactly not knowing what you want. Like if we were definite creatures, I think we'll be living in a scientific utopia right now.
True. And like, let's say we wanted to walk this way, but the one that push our friends, the one that push our wheelchair is no, they wanted to go this way. So it's like we have to follow them.
Oh my god, yes.
That's just one of the things.
And another thing is, you know that it being in a wheelchair, you have to go through like flat land, you have to look at the terrain, right? There's certain terrains that we cannot go to because we know from experience that if you go into sand, we're gonna get really stuck and it's gonna get really difficult to come out. So trust me when I say go this way, don't argue. I really don't like people who sort of puts me in a wheelchair and then pushes me in a direction. I'm like, this is a bad idea. Why don't you go that way? They're like, oh, no, I know what I'm doing. And then we get stuck. And congratulations, now we're 10 minutes late. Sake o.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, how big is your ego that you don't trust me to know what I am doing? Like, this is my life, bro, please.
This is my leg. This was that.
Like, I know what I'm doing. Damn.
I don't
Okay.
know. The person pushing the wheelchair usually has a hard time believing what we say. I don't know why.
I mean, it's bad enough that we're women. So for the most part, a lot of men don't listen to what we say anyway. But when you're a woman in a wheelchair, you're now not in control of your own life and you're a damsel in distress. Like, I will save you, and I'm like, I can save myself. I just need a little bit of help. And it'd be nice if people listened. There was this one time I went to a friendly neighborhood cafe. They have one step up, and my friends usually help me out. Blah. But this one time it was packed full, so we were just waiting, and this guy, without me realizing, pulls the front of my handlebar up, and because I don't have a backrest, I didn't even realize it, and he yoinked me so hard that I fell backwards.
Ow.
Oh.
And I was somewhat in tears as I looked up and I went, ask before you try.
Yeah.
And then he was on the phone the entire time though. He didn't put down the phone. He didn't ask. He was in a conversation and then he realized he dropped me and he was like, he put the hand up to say, I'm so sorry. And then he disappeared into the restaurant. And I'm just like,
then you're on the floor?
I'm on the floor. People were helping me already. My friend,
What?
2 of my friends were there. We were in the process of, doing our own thing. Like, we wanted to get to a table. My friend will lift the front. And then this guy just appeared like a hero, but the worst hero. It's like, you have caused so much problems today. And then in shame, he runs away. And then both of my friends were like, what the shit was that? And I'm like, I know. My head hurts because I smashed into it. And then we had coffee. It was fine.
Dude, if that person did that to me, I would just go mad.
I was mad. The problem is I was lying on the floor.
Yeah, you can't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
Even if you want to do that.
It's like, you're pissed off. I told him you should have asked. He didn't put down the phone. He was like, oh, sorry. Like, he mouthed the words and he did the hands. And there were so many people around me. You know when there's so many people around you trying to help, the person who is the cause of this stupid ends up running away. And I was like, I have so much to say to you. Okay, goodbye. Managed to get up. Got a table outside, which is my usual place because I don't want to go inside. That day it was full of people. But yeah, that was the end. We spent the entire time bitching about how you should ask for permission before you help someone. It doesn't matter if they're old, young, infirm, disabled, etc., and so forth. Ask. For the most part, just ask the question like, do you need help? 4 words. Instead of suddenly coming in gung-ho as if you know everything and ruining so many things. I'm just glad I didn't have a concussion.
Yeah. Lucky.
Yes. What were we talking about? I forgot. Oh yeah, wheelchairs. Going.
So you never use a wheelchair, or I mean,
no, it's the motorized scooter that I have now.
That's the only thing. I mean that you straight away jump into the motorized
Oh,
wheelchair.
that.
Oh.
Thank you for bringing the conversation back. So, when I was about 17, I started having problems with keeping myself upright. A, a small gust of wind will blow by and it will cause me to fall. So eventually, I had to use like a wheelchair. First, it was a big bulky wheelchair, and then we got the smaller, more lightweight one that can be
Mm.
folded and put in the back seat of the car without a lot of problems. Like you, I had friends pushing, or my siblings, and there was a lot of like little mishaps that happened. They would go a little bit too fast, and the wheel would go left, and then I would go out, or we're on a ramp. Like teaching people how to do ramp is a process, because one, I didn't know how to go up ramps. So it was this assumption like, okay, if you go forwards, it's too difficult. If you go backwards, I might fall out. So what is
Yeah.
the appropriate way? So it was trial and error. Thankfully, I am made of really strong stuff. So I didn't get too injured, but my pride was hurt every time I fall. Like it was part of the reason why I didn't wear skirts, because I was so afraid of apa jatuh and then
When you're
like surprise
yeah.
underwear.
You were afraid of Marilyn Monroe scene.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh.
Only not as attractive as Miss Marilyn. And not over event. It's just probably falling headfirst and then spread akimbo for all the world to see. So I was Captain McPants for the longest time. Um, it's not until I became an adult when I became comfortable in wearing skirts. And now skirts are so much easier because it's easier to go to the bathroom as well. uh, but yes, I went and got like a smaller red wheelchair. Like the fabric was red, and that wheelchair went with me everywhere. Into campsites, onto beaches, which is why and how I know beaches are horrible places if you're in a wheelchair. It was
It is.
like you can't push, you have to drag.
The
So
tires.
what would happen is so the person would have to be in front. I will be facing back the entire time if they're going forwards, and they have to tilt my wheelchair so I'm at a 45-degree angle so the small wheels don't get stuck.
Yeah, true.
And then it's like, whoa, yay. Which means the people that I hang out with have to have amazing upper body strength. And it also probably give me a complex about who I want to date. People with insane upper and lower body strength. Because I am weak. You know how you're always like, oh, you want a person to compliment you. And I'm like, my compliment is strong, literally. Because I am weak. And my dexterity is bullshit. But yeah, it's so funny. I love the beach. Unironically, unequivocally, I love the beach. But being in a wheelchair, being disabled on the beach is like the worst because it's hard. Snow is even worse than that. I don't like snow. You know how people train to increase their strength and dexterity on the beach? Being disabled on the beach is the worst. And this country is not great at having amenities that help you go from water to sand, mostly because terrain. But it's just that we don't have the facilities, which makes it hurt even more. I remember having to go diving. Well, not having to. I went to go diving, and the guy had to piggyback me onto a truck, and that truck would drive to the boat, and then I would have to be piggybacked onto the boat as well. It's a lot. It's a lot. I don't regret anything, don't get me wrong, but I am so thankful for everybody who was there that had to put up with all this nonsense, which is why I often say like it gives you so much guilt. And it's different from like people talk about survivor's guilt, right? The guilt of you still being alive, although other people around you in the same situation have died, and you feel like you shouldn't be alive because other people might be better than you, blah blah blah, and it shouldn't be you. Essentially, this is disability guilt, the guilt of being alive and inadvertently being a burden to other people. It's such a it's a painful experience in a way because you kind of don't want to talk about it because it sounds silly. It sounds ridiculous. Like, why would you feel guilt for existing? But you do.
Understand that feeling. Understand.
Like, I think I sent out a tweet a while ago about somebody asking me to go somewhere and then them saying, "Oh, you could just ask someone to help." And I'm like, "How often can you ask the same person for help until they resent you?"
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, with your family, there's a line.
Yeah. Oh,
Even though they're your family, even though they give birth to you, even though they are blood, there's still a line.
there'll be time they will say, I'm tired.
Yeah. Um
Do it later. Or like, yeah.
yeah, but sometimes you want to do it now and it hurts to
Mm,
have to beg to be like,
mm,
I kind of want to do it now. If I don't, then it's not going to work. Or I'm a night person, right? Which means I stay up until 3 or 4 in the morning to do work and so on. And I have to be in the best possible health so that if I go to the bathroom, I can deal with it myself instead of having to wake somebody up at 3 o'clock in the morning because I can't get off the toilet. And as much as I want to say that I don't have any form of trauma, wishful thinking, I think a lot of it comes from the fact that I'm insanely insecure about my disability, about not being able to do things by myself. It's also why we're talking about this today because it's good for people to know that they're not alone in feeling helpless and guilty. Guilt is inherent, like it's part of being a person, but it does make it very difficult for us to go up to a normal person and say, look, we can't just ask for help. There's caveats, there's things we have to mempertikaikan. There are conditions that need to be met before you can ask somebody for help. Like people are like, oh, people will just help. Yeah, technically, most of the time they will help, but
No,
not a
not
hundred
exactly.
percent. Go ahead, Joyce. What would you mean?
Oh, not everyone will help.
Mm-hmm.
Some people they some people if you ask them for help they will not help because they will say that oh I don't know what to do, don't ask me for help, ask someone for help, or they will just like refuse you because they feel that you are a huge trouble and they would just try to do anything to get out of doing something that would trouble them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean it's the same for my caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
If the thing is too much of a trouble, or if she feels that it's too much of a trouble, she will try to put up a debate with you.
Huh?
So, yeah. So
What? Can you
that's
can
why
you
I
give me
usually try. Sorry?
an example of this kind of situation?
Like sometimes if you ask her to be a bit more detailed in, like like, oh what do you say, daily care or something like that, or like if you ask her for help to get something. And
Mm-hmm.
then she would be like, "Oh, I'll do it later, or you can wait a little while, or maybe we can do it another day, something like that." Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know how you
mm,
feel. Um, I have this thing where because of how my parents trained me, I am extremely clean. And my level of cleanliness, I realized about 2 years ago, is not the same as everybody else's. My level of cleanliness is higher. But
OCD level?
no, no. I OCD level is ridiculous. Like I don't even like saying okay, I feel like it's a slander to call yourself having OCD because OCD is so much more than having to clean things. I'm very careful with saying stuff like that. Um it's more like I like spotless. I like clean. I don't like dust. I I'm very eagle-eyed when it comes to looking at mold. Like, is that mold? Why isn't it clean? And I'm also very careful with how things are cleaned. Like they have to be sparkly. If I can do it myself, I would do it
Yeah,
myself. Unfortunately, most of the time I cannot. So I depend on
that's
other
true.
people. And the problem with other people is their level of cleanliness is not the same as mine, which means I say, "Can you please clean this?" It's like 50%
It's
clean.
really good.
Like when they do it,
Um,
it's only 50% of what my 100% would be. So I have to ask them again, like, can you do this properly, please? Or there's been a few times where I asked my helper to clean something, and for some reason, they don't see the patch that I see that is like clear as day.
yes, yes.
So I have a laser pointer, and I'm like, oh, kat situ belum bersih lagi ke? And to
Oh,
sort of be
that's smart.
diplomatic about it, I don't pointedly go to koto. I ask them in a
Mm-mm.
way where like, oh, did you not see this? Oh, I just realized it was there to not hurt their feelings because I still need their help. So I have to be very diplomatic,
Very tactful.
and it's very annoying because I
It
am
is. It
seething
is.
because it has been 2 weeks. I have seen the same speck of dust in the same place for 2 weeks.
Mm.
I can understand because I am very fuzzy when it comes to cleanliness as well. I can
What did
understand your frustration.
So yes, I'm a big fan of laser pointers. A lot of people will come up to me like, "Why do you have a laser pointer?" And I'm like, first of all, cats. Second of all, I cannot point, so this will point for me. And
That's
what's
like
better
good.
than a red dot?
I think I should get one.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
it's so
just
cheap.
get
It's
one.
like
It's like
less than 10 ringgit, and mine is
I think I
rechargeable.
should get one.
So it
I think
has
I
a
should
laser
get one.
pointer, a flashlight, and a black light for no reason.
Wow.
And I think I got it for less than 10 ringgit, and I should get another one.
Where did you get it? Where did you
Uh,
get it?
off the internet. I honestly don't remember, but if you just type laser pointer rechargeable, you should find it.
Hmm. Okay.
I think you'll find it in a platform, shopping platform.
Yes,
Easier.
a particular shopping
Like,
platform that is not
Mm-mm.
paying us to say their name, so we should not
Yeah,
say their name.
we are not going to say that.
Sponsor us, please. Starts with S, ends with P. Anyway, laser pointer is my best friend. In my handbag because I will just be pointing at random things. I feel like people don't listen. I know I've spoken about this again, but having a laser pointer is a lot better than saying, "Oh, I want that thing over there that is at the top at 3 o'clock," because most people don't understand clock faces.
Mm.
Um, I'm a clock face kind of person. If I'm looking straight, that is my 12 o'clock. If I want somebody to move and look to my right, I will tell them turn to 3 o'clock, and then they'll be like, "Where's 3 o'clock?" I'm like, it's a clock face, dude. It's a circle. Fine, 90 degrees clockwise. I can't. Laser pointer infinitely better than using words because the words that you use are very different from the words that other people use based on where and when. Also, language barriers. So, laser pointer, always great. Highly, highly recommend. If the laser pointer falls down, good luck.
you get a spare one, backup.
I do not have a spare one. One time I left it in my friend's car and I was so sad. Like for an entire week, I didn't have my laser pointer and I just kept texting him, like, bro, I miss my laser pointer. Did you feed it? Did you pet it? Are you taking care of my laser pointer? Because I didn't want to buy a new one. Uh, but yes. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next sort of subsection of the same simple questions. I say simple, but it's proving to be a lot more difficult to sort of wrap your head around this and tell stories because I've lived for 35 years, um and we have a lot of stories. But for the both of you, Joyce and Ina, what do you think you'll need in the next 10 years? Like how much significant change in your ability to move around by yourself, quote unquote, do you sort of foresee, and how much of it will be even more so in the next 10 years?
Uh, you mean our condition
Mm-hmm.
or?
Because of our condition, like what kind of help do you foresee yourself needing?
Oh, I think the most I think the most important thing for me, like in terms of help, would be like, I guess, financially wise, because everything is going up. So caregiver salary is also going up. Hmm, I don't think like as in the next 10 years I would be able to sustain my
Mhm.
needs.
I mean,
So
money
I'm
money
still
is
trying to figure.
always, yeah, money is always an issue, but if we
Yeah.
Yeah,
weren't looking at a monetary thing, like if money was not an object, what would you need within the next 10 years?
I
And I'm
guess.
not talking about treatment. I'm talking about like physical
Yeah.
objects.
Uh, I guess. Um, like if my condition doesn't deteriorate too badly, I think like maybe a new equipment. I guess a new wheelchair,
Mm-hmm.
a bed, like something like that, or maybe like more assistive devices that could help me get around in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. I think I don't need much. I mean, except for that, like the one that I previously used now.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like equipment, probably not much. Lifestyle changes, also not really much. I think for me the most important thing is uh better transport system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Unfortunately, that
facilities.
is not something we can control, but we can fight for it.
Yeah.
That is very, very valid. What about Aina? What kind of changes do you foresee in your future?
I think I might need I'm not sure is it called top leaf, is it? Mm, what is it thing that you carry the person to the other
Oh,
the
it's like
thing?
a it's
What
like
is
a
it?
hammock. Is it like a hammock thing?
Is it,
A,
but is the thing
a
something that you
hoist.
can, yeah. Yeah,
A
a
hoist.
hoist.
A
Yes,
hoist.
a
Thank you.
hoist. Yes, yes,
Hoist is the
a
word.
hoist.
Yes.
Yes, that the thing. I think I might need that in 10 years
Uh huh.
because
I
I think I'm getting heavy. I am
mm-hmm.
trying to maintain my weight, okay, at
Here
30 something.
Well,
here
how are you
here's the thing.
in?
You are not fat. Like compared to me, you are both of you are quite skinny. And
Yeah, but
even
the thing
that
is
is
that,
already a problem.
and is that upper, the problem is my parents are getting older. So
Mm.
yeah, I need to,
Mm-hmm.
maintain my weight in order for them to carry me. So it's like, don't eat too much. No, don't eat
Oh my
sweet.
god, that
It's not. Yeah.
that physically hurts me because I really like food. And my favorite food is meat and potatoes.
Yeah, same.
I don't snack. I just really like to eat. And I eat like I'm very calculated with what I eat now, but I love food and I'm fat for a reason.
Wait,
Um
can I ask something? Can I ask something?
go for it.
I'm not sure if any of you experienced this, but you guys like uh, experience any like loss of appetite as you grow older, or eat less, or you don't find yourself eating too much? Like,
Mm, I have sometimes. Yeah, I do
I
feel it sometimes.
I don't have loss of appetite. Even when I'm sick, I'm hungry. Um the problem with me though, it's not a loss of appetite, it's knowing that I want to eat something but not getting it. So I don't want to eat another thing. Or when you've had
Mm.
a certain grade of food, and then you have like the lesser grade. You're like, I'll just eat for the sake of sustenance, but know that I am very unhappy with this quality of food. You know, that kind of thing. Like actively
Yes,
snubbing, like, oh, that is
yes,
terrible
yeah.
cheese. Why do you not have this cheese? That kind of thing. Like, just the older I get, the brattier I become.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's not that I lose appetite, it's that I'm disappointed.
Hmm. Okay.
But because of my health as well, what I've started doing is intermittent fasting. I say started, but I actually started doing that in 2016, and I've still done that. So my usual would be 18-hour, no, 16-hour
Mm.
fast, 8 hours of eating window. But if I'm exceptionally disappointed in the food, I will do a 20-hour fast and a 4-hour eating window.
Oh,
But I
Okay.
eat
I
a
think like,
lot.
don't you feel tired doing it?
No,
Like the normal fasting to me also, I'll get tired.
but the problem with the normal fasting is you don't drink water. I drink so much
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
My usual water intake is between 2 to 2.5 liters every day.
Oh.
It also
That's a
means
lot.
that if I don't want to bother people in the middle of the night, I stop drinking at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
If I'm feeling weak, like, yeah, by 11 o'clock I stop drinking because I need to last until the next morning and not go to the bathroom. But otherwise, it's okay. Oh, speaking of, please drink
Okay.
water.
Yeah.
But my diet has changed. I wouldn't say drastically. I still eat junk food. I still enjoy chips,
Mm.
but I don't
Mm.
drink sweet drinks. Even when I was younger, it's not something that I crave for. Now it's just water. I'm a water person. I love water. Water is amazing. Um, it is it is the stuff of life. Num num num. Tasty. Also, it's tasty. Water is tasty.
Yeah, the more you drink water, the more you realize different water has different tastes.
Yes, but
Betul.
I'm not like a water brat. The only thing I don't like is the taste of plastic bottle, but I'll drink it anyway.
Oh, yeah, that. I don't know why, but mineral water sucks.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
So for me, if I don't have coffee, I will die.
Like like
Oh,
like
but
physical strength die or like mentally die?
It's like
uh,
mentally and emotionally dead if I don't get coffee. I can last probably 2 days without coffee, but after that I'm like, I need my fix.
That, my friend, is called an
Yeah.
addiction.
oh,
Caffeine addiction is a thing because back in uni, my friends opened up a cafe, right? So every day I would get at least
Oh.
4 cups of coffee because they'll be making coffee and they'll be like, just here, take this. And I'm like, oh, free coffee. Okay. Um, I think it went between 4 to 7 cups of coffee a day. Now I drink no cups of coffee a
Whoa.
day unless
ooh,
I'm outside with friends. Then I drink 1 cup of coffee. But
that's a
Ah,
drastic
okay.
change.
I know, but it's very easy because I have
I
insane
drink one
amount of
cup of
willpower.
coffee every day. I don't drink.
Mm-hmm. 1 cup is
I
okay.
don't drink sodas.
No, I can't. I can't
Yeah.
do sodas. Water
I
for
don't.
me
I don't
only.
drink
So that's
sodas.
also nice.
If
Mm.
I ever touch a soda, I will get bloated. My
Mm.
stomach would distend, and then it's like you will see me burping for the whole entire day.
Gas.
Mhm.
Gas and sugar. Although I say I don't drink a lot of soda, but I like root beer. Like, if
Yes.
ever there were a situation where I would drink a soda thing, it would be root beer.
Mm-mm. So there is
Oh
nice.
no.
Oh, remind me to that here.
Okay, let me just do a thing because bots just entered chat and I dislike them immensely. Delete. Block
Find love on the best dating site.
report.
On
Okay. Did they disappear?
bots.
Can I delete them? Are they gone? Refresh.
Yeah, I'm
I
refreshing them.
hate bots.
Look.
Okay, I'm just gonna like spam words. Bugger bots.
No, they're not gone. They're not gone. They're still there.
Guys,
They
help
are
me
still there.
write some stuff.
Mm,
I
mm,
j-
mm.
I can't block. I don't know how. Hiya. We take this opportunity to like shoo but shoo.
Yeah.
I would like to block them, but I don't know how participants.
Mm.
Oh well. Anyway, bots can die in a fire. So annoying. It is so incredibly annoying.
Yeah, what is this? Oh my god, I'm trying to enter the chat. Why can't I enter the chat? Let me see.
We're just chatting ourselves. Is this mine though? Block. Remove. 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 It never disappears. And I hate it.
Can I remove them?
I try. Okay,
I think it's
message
gone.
deleted. Very, very, very
Yeah, I think
slowly.
it's gone.
Hiya. Anyway. So, where were we? Before I got
We were
distracted by
doing
the bots.
bots.
Coffee.
I was coffee. Coffee is so good.
Coffee.
Okay, that's another reason why I don't drink or eat obsessively, because I'm a brat. Like, I only want the good things. So if it's coffee, it has to be really good coffee.
Mm.
Really
There's
good
only
coffee, like as in imported like stuff.
no, not important. It just has to be not over roasted. I like a medium blend. I tend to go for the African Arabica beans. I'm kind of annoying that way. I'll be like, this tastes a little bit burnt. Water too hot. You know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yes. Huh. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Oh my god, what is happening outside? So I'm having construction outside right now at night, and it's gonna take a while. So I hope we don't hear them.
I can't hear anything.
Okay,
I can't
that's
hear
good.
anything.
That's good.
Never
Every
mind.
so often I just get like, oh, what is that sound? Right. Since we spoke extensively about the next 10 years, I'm just going to do my next 10 years. I know for a fact that I'm going to have to level my bathroom, so it's one level, because right now I have a problem. Sometimes I stand up and I cannot move myself to the chair because my leg tired and I might fall, and I don't want to do that. So bathroom needs to be leveled. I need to install like a bench seating so I can just transfer myself from my wheelchair to the bench. And then I need to figure out a way to transfer from the bench to wheelchair. And then I need to do something about toilet so I can help myself instead of bothering people. There's so much. And this is me talking as if money were not an object. We all know that money is an object that everybody needs. But if that were the case, and then it's just a lot of like, who is gonna help me go to places, because parents are helping now, but they're getting older, as Aina put it.
Yeah.
And then what?
We need to figure out ourselves.
And then my siblings have a life of their own. They don't live for us. They have their own nonsense to attend to, which I totally get. This all boils down to amount of guilt that you have for being disabled. It'd be nice if I could take care of myself, but I can't. So, shoo bots, shoo. I hate bots. I need to like block this bot. Anyway, yes. So those are the things I may need in the next 10 years, assuming that I don't become bedridden. If I become bedridden, I pull the plug on myself. I don't want to live anymore unless you can plug me into VR and I may live forever. I don't know. We're gonna move to things that happen in our real life, and I'm gonna start with Joyce's experience with Transit My.
Oh yeah.
This came out. Um, and the funny thing is, I think it was addressed by Anthony Lowe just recently during the thing. Joyce, do you want to talk about this?
Hey, I'm not anonymous anymore.
You were never anonymous. Come on.
Okay, for me, it's like because I was meeting up with a friend that day, so he suggested, or was it I? Oh, yes, it was I. I suggested going to a shopping mall that is connected with the MRT.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like within walking distance, which is really convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mhm.
can I see the name of the shopping center?
Sure, yes.
Okay, so I chose the place, and it was Town Shopping Center, which is located at Cheras. In case you guys don't know, it's also the one with the IKEA attached. So I went there, and then as I reached the MRT station, I was prepared to go up to the part where I can just go through one more lift to reach the shopping center.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was that when I reached there, the lift had this, the yellow thing that they put in front of the lift. What do they call that?
Like the tape, the do not
When
cross
it's
tape.
when it's broken or it's on maintenance or stuff like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a board or something.
Mm-hmm.
So the lift had that, and then I asked the guy at the counter. I think he was an officer or something. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but he's a staff, so I asked him, is the lift working or is it like broken? And then he said it's still broken, so they aren't going to be able to fix it at the moment. And then I said that I need to get to the shopping center, and there's no other way that I can use. So I asked him if there are any extra lifts that I can use. But no, that was the only lift that could get me to the link shopping center.
Yeah, because the
So
other alternative would be to go up the normal lift and then cross the road and die.
yeah, so so what happened was that I was running out of time. So my first thought was, okay, let's just do this the hard way. So I had no choice but to use the escalator. I mean, even the staff, the guy also said that, like, we're sorry, but I'll help you with this. I'm like, okay. So I had no choice. I had to use the escalator. Luckily, the guy was willing to help. And then when I returned back from my meeting, I had to go down, and that was also something that I was quite worried about because I was thinking about if I fell off the escalator,
Mm-hmm.
that would be a very big problem.
Uh-huh.
So
Oh.
luckily, the staff was still there, the same guy who helped me, and yeah, I had to use the escalator to go back down again. I really didn't want to do it, but I had no choice because there was no other option for me to use. So we went down the escalator. Luckily, nothing happened, but I am not going to do that again because it is very dangerous. I do not recommend going up an escalator with a motorized wheelchair.
No, no,
Seriously.
no, that sounds
No.
terrifying.
So after that, after like I think a few weeks after, I had another friend who wanted to meet up with me. So
Mm-hmm.
I asked Rapid KL on their Facebook. I asked them if the lift at the MRT station was fixed, and that And then they replied me, said, no, it's not fixed yet. You can ask any of our staff to assist you to get onto the platform and stuff like that. They won't be able to repair the lift until the end of the year or something
Yeah,
like that.
so I'm just gonna
Yeah.
read exactly what they wrote. They wrote, "Hi,
Yeah.
blank. The lift at Cochrane Station is still out of order. It will be fixed by end of this year. You may get assistance from Police Bantuan, the police that are there assisting the station to carry the wheelchairs to the platform. Sorry for the inconvenience caused." Like, at this point, you're like, it's not just a minor inconvenience,
Yes.
it is dangerous.
Yeah.
And
I
what
was
if
speechless.
these police bantuan acquires slip disc or pulls a muscle? Because a motorized wheelchair is not very light, it's incredibly heavy. So,
And you
I'll give
can
you an
double.
example. Yeah,
sorry? One by one?
I'll give you an example of how heavy. How
Mm-hmm.
heavy a motorized wheelchair. Like for mine, for instance, it weighs 150 kilograms without me on it. So imagine if I was on it, it'll be around 200 something kg. So
So, can you,
imagine if this motorized wheelchair rams into someone who is helping me, and what would happen to that person? What would
uh-huh.
happen to me, and the things that could happen.
It's not just that, it's one, it's dangerous. Because this thing is so heavy. If it falls on a person, the impact itself will cause severe amount of injury. Second of all, if that happens and the wheelchair breaks, who pays for it?
No one.
And then what happens to you? Like, this is your legs. You need to be able to use it. What is Rapid KL going to suddenly go, "Oh, we will pay for 1 week of somebody staying with you while we get it fixed"? No, they're not going to do that. They don't care. So I'm really glad Anthony Locke actually did say something. I don't know if he's going to do something about it because Prasarana is garbage anyway. We will see how that goes.
Did he
I
reply?
hope.
Did-
He didn't reply personally, but what was it? There was
Addressed
a
the
live
issue.
stream. Yeah.
Yeah, he addressed the issue.
Okay.
What was it? What's it called?
Press conference.
Yeah, a press conference. Where he addressed it. He was like, "Oh, apparently, there were a lot of people on Twitter telling me about this and this, about this and this," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I would like to think it was my tweet, but I also know that a lot of other people complain about this, and he's a good guy. um I hope they change it, because if a lift is broken, it should be fixed within the hour, if not within half an hour of the complaint being made, purely because of safety reasons. Because if something were to happen and you had to be lifted and you are injured and your stuff is broken, I'm pretty sure you can take them to court. And they're not gonna like this. I'm saying this because I want a lot more people to become very, very litigious. If not personally, then we can do like a class action lawsuit. You can do that towards your government as well, and your municipalities, by the way. I am totally inciting people to go do this. Go do this.
I think there's been a few cases where people sue the airlines because they didn't provide.
Yeah, unfortunately for us, that is Americans, since they are extremely litigious creatures.
Yes.
We don't really have the wherewithal as a country, as a peoples, to become litigious about these things, because we're just like, oh, it's too much effort. It is also, at the same time, we don't know how. I will first and foremost admit to the fact that I personally don't know how to take people to court. How do court? Is it just yell and scream and it'll be like, "I'll see you in court," and then it just happens? I don't think so. So so that happened. And we would really like it that it is addressed sooner than later, and I hope the lift is fixed. Because how can you have an entire infrastructure that costs billions of ringgit and not have a team to fix things. That is
It's
mind-blowingly
ridiculous.
dumb to me. Like, you don't just make things without the concept of um being able to fix it. Maintenance is a core principle of any infrastructure. Why do they
Yeah.
not have this?
Mm-mm.
Anyway, because we spoke about transit on my, I also want to ask about transport and transport assistance. Joyce, you take the public transportation a lot. Has there ever been a situation where you needed to go into a personal vehicle?
I try to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
Try to avoid that. I really try to avoid that.
Um,
So
can you tell
usually
me
I
why?
just take public transport because it's not convenient for me. One is
Mm-hmm.
because when I have to transfer into a vehicle, someone has to carry me inside. And I don't feel comfortable sitting in the car seat because my spine is not straight. So
Mm-hmm.
what happens is that when I sit too long in a car seat, I get, my limbs get numb
Mm-hmm.
because of like circulation cut off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite an agony for me. Sitting in a car seat, I prefer not to.
That's
Oh
fair.
yeah, and can your wheelchair be folded?
Yeah, it's 150 kilos.
Can.
I mean, if I use like
Yeah.
cars,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I use manual wheelchairs if I'm using a car.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Because my motorized wheelchair is non-foldable,
Mm-hmm.
and if anyone were to fold it, it would break apart.
I think if folding just means breaking. That's fair. That's fair. What about Aina? Personal vehicle or public transport? How do question mark?
And I very rare for me to use public transport.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have English. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think so. My experience of that. The trouble, the personal transport, the vehicle was fine, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually my parents or my friends will fold the wheelchair. Usually, if with my friends, I will use a normal wheelchair. It's
Mm-hmm.
easy for them to fold and
Uh-huh.
carry the wheelchair.
How do they carry you from your wheelchair to the car? Because different cars can be very deep. Some cars is shallow. Some cars you really have to like throw yourself in.
Because of the gap between the door and the
Yes.
seat.
For the record, the gap
Yeah.
there is for safety reasons. Like the more shell buffer you have from the outside of the car to you, the more likely that you survive an impact. Um, so
Mm.
I'm not gonna complain about that. It's for safety reasons, but at the same time, it's very difficult because
Yeah, it's
sometimes I
very
try
tricky.
to sit on the chair, I end up sitting outside on the
Yeah,
metal platform.
like the middle, the one, what was it? The curve of the chair.
Yeah. I end up being there because my butt doesn't extend far enough. So how do they help you? Do they carry you? Do they pivot
Yeah, they
you?
carry me.
Mm-hmm.
They carry me like a baby. Like how you carry baby. Just put it me
Uh-huh.
on the car.
Mm-hmm. Okay. For me, it used to be that they would pick me up till I'm standing, and then I sort of waddle and position myself, and I fall into the car.
Mm.
But now it's very hard for me to take a step on most occasions, so they actually have to lift and then pivot, and then I fall into the car. Either way, I'm gonna fall into the car. If it's a tall car, they have to lift and put myself on the seat, and then I have to brace myself. I have to use whatever core strength I have to not fall out of the car while they move my
Oh
leg
yeah,
into the car.
the tall car is very hard. Oh.
Mm.
Mhm.
Getting out of the car is the same thing. They have to pick me up, and then once I'm standing, they have to put the scooter next to me so that I can just sit on the scooter. But it's a maneuvering thing. If you do it wrong, I will fall to the ground, which I never want to do because it's so difficult to get me from ground to sitting. Like that's the worst, and that is where people get injured because, like it or not, I'm quite heavy. This is why the guys I date need to be very, very strong.
One of the characteristics.
Exactly. It's like if you're not strong, we cannot be together because I'm weak. I'm weak and I'm heavy. I'm like a rock. I'm a sack of potatoes that is drunk. Okay. Um, that is just moving in and out of vehicles. I get so much anxiety, especially when it rains. If it rains and I have to go out, I'm so stressed because one, I can't just run into the car. The person who owns the car has to get out of the car, help me into the car, hold my scooter, put that in the boot, and then get into the car. Which means
Yeah.
they're going to have to be rained on. And if they get a fever, it's my fault.
That's why I avoid going out during rains.
Yeah,
Usually
but
I
it
don't do
rains
that.
all the time and I like going out.
I don't like the rain as well.
Yeah, you especially because you take public transport.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me how you get around with public transport when it rains. Like do you just call the office or whatever if you have to get somewhere? You're like, "Hey, I can't make it because it's raining." Um yeah.
Well, the good thing about my work is that I can work from home. So I don't
Mhm.
have to go to the office. The problem is that if I'm traveling and it rains, and it's a big problem because usually if it rains, uh, then it would be really difficult for my caregiver because she has to hold the umbrella
Mhm.
and then we have to walk and the wind is blowing and we're getting wet. The controller is getting wet. I'm getting wet. She's getting wet. We're getting all wet. So by the time we reach home or reach that place, we're soaking wet. Yeah. And one more thing about rain is that when it rains, this bus ramp is wet and you cannot go out properly without sliding off a few times.
Ah,
Yes. So that
that sounds
is like,
horrible.
so that's why I always say that don't rain when I'm going out.
Fair. But we can't really avoid that. We live in a tropical country
That's
and
why I
it's
always
monsoon
check the weather
season.
when I go out.
I don't trust the weather because this one time I checked the weather and it said it was going to rain. So we went somewhere else instead of the usual cafe because I was afraid of the rain. And then it didn't rain. I was so angry. I was like,
I
this is
think
some next
I
level
think there's
bullshit.
like a 70% accuracy for our weather
70%.
forecast.
Okay. Okay. Where is it just like Google weather forecast or do you have like a
I
specific website?
usually like I usually use the weather widget that I have on my phone.
Uh-huh.
So they have this forecast, and I would go into more detail by clicking on the day and the time and what time it would like be raining and stuff like that, and then come up with an estimate of how I would plan my journey
Mm-hmm.
according to the forecast.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty much like that when I'm using public transport.
I think I think you kind of sort of have to trust that the forecast has got their shit together.
Yes.
Otherwise you kind of never go out, I guess.
I mean, it's part and parcel of moving independently
Mm-hmm.
and using public transport. I mean, there's the pros and cons of using public transport. The pros are you can be independent, you don't have to depend on people to drive you elsewhere. But the cons are you have to face the weather
How do you
and broken
deal
lifts.
how do you deal with the irregular sidewalks? Because that is one of my most feared things. Like when I go out, I'm afraid of being on the road because people drive in this country
Uh,
like assholes.
yes, I know. For sidewalks, I usually avoid if possible because they usually break off in the middle of when you're walking in the middle of it and then they just suddenly break off for no reason. Or
Mm-hmm,
maybe
mm-hmm,
you've just reached the end of the pavement and then it just breaks off.
mm-hmm.
So I usually don't go on the sidewalk because I know the risk that is involved, and I usually go by the side of the road. And when I'm on the side of the road, I usually tell my caregiver to follow from behind because I don't want her to get hit by a passing car.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm risking my life on the road because of stupid sidewalks, but I cannot do anything about that.
I I feel you. I feel you. When I'm on this when I'm on the road, um I tend to have my friends on the sidewalk because if I get hit, it's fine. If they get
Yeah,
hit, it's
yeah,
not fine.
yes. That is also what I tell my kid. I said, you can go on the sidewalk, go behind me, but just don't stand beside me. I don't want you to get hit by a passing car because if you die, I cannot lift up your dead body.
Oh my god. That also I cannot live with your death. Full stop. Like if you die, I will think about it a lot. Like a lot, a lot.
Yeah, so that's what you get with public transport and walking around uh, the city like that.
Mm-hmm. Fair. Fair, fair, fair. Okay, public transport. Because I tell myself I will try the public transport, but I'm so scared because I'm alone. And when I was in Melbourne, I used to go everywhere myself on my little scooter. And the motorized wheelchair that I use, which is called Travel Scoot. Not sponsored. I wish they did sponsor me though, because it's very expensive. Um and it was really easy because I would go to places. I would go to the supermarket, pubs, etc., and so forth. Go to classes like that. But over here, I need to use a car to go less than a kilometer away. There is a shisha place that I go to almost all the time, and I need a car to get there. I can literally scoot there if they made the pavements accessible. It will take me 5 minutes at the most.
5 minutes. Wow.
That is how near it is. And the fact that I need a car to get there pisses me off in the worst way. Like, it is wild.
There's one more thing about public transport that I don't like very much. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about the transport, it's about the people who use it. Okay, let me address this.
Mm-hmm.
People who use the transport, the public transport, like in buses or trains, I mean, like they see you, they see your wheelchair, but they just don't have the, I don't know, is it the initiative to like step aside and let me use the space for the disabled or something? Because it's like you want to enter the train, you want to enter the bus. The
Uh-huh.
problem is that people are standing there, they're looking at you, they're staring at you. You know you want to come in, and they're just like gawking at you, and I'm like, why are you standing there and not letting me come in?
Just
And
move.
why are you using my space, dude? And like sometimes you can have a staring match with them. They're like, I'm not gonna budge, and you're like, fuck.
Uh you're this is why we need to say words. Like move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the experiences of telling someone to move is that some of them will actually say that, oh my god, you're such a bother. Yeah.
Just say that it's your right to sit
It's
there.
yeah, it's absolutely your right to sit there. They have no choice but to move. Like a bother, get out of my way. You're in
Yeah.
my way.
They're kind of like huff and puff and they like walk away. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, you're never gonna see them again. But at least you're comfortable. They do not deserve. I yell at people all the time when they use the public toilets, when it's the disabled one and they walk out like, oh, they just took a shit and smoked a cigarette. And they walk out and they see you in a wheelchair and suddenly they're like, oh shit, I got caught. And then they start the spiel, oh, I didn't know, usually there's nobody, and I'm like, then stop fucking
Yeah.
doing it. Um I don't know if I told you guys this story before on the channel, but I went to my usual shisha place and somebody blocked the ramp with their car. So I got shitty and it was about to rain, which means I was stressed out because it's gonna rain.
Oh
I
my
am
god.
like me, the person is waterproof. My scooter that costs a lot
It's not.
is not waterproof. Who is gonna pay for this if it starts raining? Not that guy. So I called the waiters. I was like, find this person because they need to move ASAP because it's gonna rain. He comes down Um, doesn't apologize, just looks at me, gets in the car, moves the car. I go up the ramp, and then he
And parks
puts
back.
the car back in front of the ramp, blocking it. Comes out of the car, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? My brother was there. I was already gutting for a fight. I was like, move the car, move the car. And then my brother knocked on the window and told him to park elsewhere. I go to my table because he finally parked somewhere else. And lucky me, the guy walks past my table, and I looked at him and I was like, why did you park in front of the ramp? And then
Okay.
his response was, if I don't park there, somebody else will.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, you are so incredibly selfish. Are you proud of yourself? And I was talking at him because he just kept moving back to his friends. And then he sat down, and I was staring daggers at the guy until my friends came. And the entire time I was just bitching about him out loud to him because his table was behind me.
Oh,
Oh,
So the entire
obviously
time
he
was
can
just
hear
like
that.
daggers. Huh?
okay.
He can hear you talking
Yeah.
about him, right?
Even if he couldn't hear me, I was talking loud enough for everybody to hear me.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
And then when he left, I'm like, ah, yeah, that guy. Like everybody, I think everybody within 2 tables of me could hear. Because the only way to get through to these people and their ego is public shaming.
Yeah.
Because
True.
they have no empathy. You just have to beat them through their ego, and it's horrible. It's sad. I don't like it. I feel
Mm.
bad. I was so pissed. I couldn't.
But at least you have the guts to do it. I mean, like if for me, I don't have like the guts to do it because I feel like no,
I
I
mean,
don't know, but I just don't have
the only reason why I have the guts to do it is because I'm privileged. I am a Malay woman.
mm,
Like it or not, that plays a big role. Like, and I know who I am. I know my social standing. Like, if I pick to fight, it's fine. If other people pick to fight, they might not be as okay in the long run. So, if you have privilege, please use your power to beat the system. This is a public service announcement. Okay. What is my next question? Hang on, let me go through my list. I have a run sheet somewhere. What do you feel about transportation services denying service to disabled people? Have you been in that situation?
yeah, I've been snubbed by buses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I remember you told us it.
Uh-huh.
I've been snubbed by buses, and I think that is really bad because like I'm not riding for free, and I have the right to use the bus because I mean, what's the point of you installing a ramp when you don't want to let me use it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, like, why do you have to snub me? I mean, it doesn't even take 5 minutes for you to stop, lower the bus, and put down the ramp to go up.
Mm-hmm. Um, can you tell if there was still space on the bus or were they just lazy?
Yeah, the bus was pretty empty. Most of the time the bus was pretty empty because you could like see the space. It's empty in the middle, which is usually the spot for disabled people. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
if the bus is full, I can understand, but the bus isn't full. Like there's only a few people sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just like go past me. You don't even want to stop. You don't even want to look at me.
These beaches. How many spaces for disabled people are there in a bus?
Usually it's like uh I've seen buses with space for disabled people like on two sides
Mm-hmm.
and some with one side, the
Mm-hmm.
on the right side. So
So
yeah,
can
sometimes
there
it's
be
two
like
sides on one side.
can there be a maximum of only two disabled people? I say disabled, I mean on a wheelchair.
Okay, like if for normal wheelchairs, like manual wheelchairs, you can at least fit I think around four or
Mm-hmm.
like three, depending on the size.
Mm-hmm.
And for motorized wheelchairs, I think the maximum is two.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
mean, but also depending on the motorized wheelchair size. Like for
Yeah.
mine, I think only like for those that are smaller in size, maybe three. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
And the problem with buses is that actually the driving is pretty reckless because when they turn corners, you feel yourself practically almost flying out of your chair.
I can imagine that. I don't like that because I am very
Some,
weak and I can fall very easily.
yeah, some drivers they are good. They know that they are driving with a disabled on board. They will slow down and they won't like do a sudden sharp turn. But
Mm.
some are like as if they are chasing after. Like I
Mm.
don't know, like as if like hell is chasing after them or something.
Um,
Drive
if
so fast and like they just take a sharp turn that sometimes even my wheelchair like kind of I don't know, it kind of like slips to the side. It kind of like slides off away from my spot and I have to like turn on my wheelchair again and drive back to the spot.
That's
Can you imagine?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my caregiver is like hanging on to me for life.
Oh,
So you can
okay.
imagine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can. I don't like it. Like, hearing the stories makes me want to use public transportation less, purely from a safety point of view.
I think
Yeah.
you should. I think you should use it because I think that way it would raise more awareness on that.
Yeah, I'm a fan of public transportation, just in general. It's just the safety of it, like because I travel alone. I don't have a helper with me. It's
Yeah,
just me
yeah.
alone, and often
It's
I
understandable.
don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that kind of stress unless I can have somebody going with me. How do you deal with the gaps between the train or LRT and the platform? Because those things are
Okay,
huge. My wheels will
okay,
fall in.
Mm.
okay. So for LRTs and MRT, the gap isn't that bad. It's like I think it's not really that bad. It's around 3 to 4 inches. And but for KTM's, it's really a big no for me because I really cannot get on KTM's.
Mm.
The space between the platform and the is just too much. The distance is just too wide,
Because I
too
remember
far.
taking the train from the airport back to KL, and the gap is like a foot. If I fall in, oh my god.
What train is that?
It's
Which train?
I forgot what it's called. It's the train that connects the
ETS?
ETS, ERL, ETS.
I've never used that before, so I don't know the space, the gap between the platform and the.
I remember sort of being observant of the gaps because I'm always like, okay, what if I need to get off and there's nobody to help me? And every other gap, no, I would say 80%. No, not even 80%. 95% of the time, the gap is more than a foot wide.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Like a child can fall in that gap.
Yeah, it's not
that's
just a.
very wide.
Yeah.
Mm.
When all they need to do, honestly, is put a button that extends a ramp and have like a particular what's the thing called? Cabin only for disabled people. And when I say disabled, I mean like the people who need the ramps, maybe the blind as well. Like just have one cabin for disabled people with a button for a ramp. Like every time you press the button, the ramp comes out, and then the driver not knows not to like fly away.
I think I think they won't implement that,
Oh, they should. There's so many
or
things that they should
they
implement.
actually they can do some like Japan, where they have this attendance on standby. Like if they know that
Oh, yes.
wheelchair user will be on
I
standby.
I was in Tokyo and I went to go see a friend. So pretty much I went to the assistant. So being Malaysian means that your ability to copy other people's languages is almost pristine. Like it is almost perfection, right? So me in my Malaysianness goes up to the box where the attendant is. This is at the, was it the turnstiles? And I go up to the guy and I'm like, oh, sumimasen. And then the guy just ignores me and starts blathering in Japanese. And I'm like, I'm Malaysian. I don't speak Japanese. And he turns around and he starts panicking. He's like, oh, shit. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I need to go from this station to this station and I need help. And the guy was like, okay, wait here. Somebody will attend to you. Please stay here. And then a guy approached me and helped me on the train. He moved everybody aside, like, piss off. Let the wheelchair in first. Puts the ramp down. I go in. He makes me park in like a particular corner where it's safe.
Yeah.
He takes the ramp and then he goes in the train with me, which shocked me. Because I was like, wait, you follow? Okay.
They follow, yes.
Yeah, and then when the station I wanted to get off at arrived, he put the ramp back down. He told people like, let this woman exit first. So I exited. And then he came out and I said thank you and he said thank you and then I said thank you again and then we left. But I was surprised because that's really, really good.
Yeah.
That's what should be done.
Yes, that's what should be done here, actually.
That said, I have also been stuck in a transit point in Tokyo for 45 minutes trying to find the lift.
Okay.
It was wild. Like 45 minutes just going, okay, this says lift over here. Then you follow the line or the arrow and the lift is not there. And there's another arrow and you're like, where does it go? Where is it? That was so annoying. I can't remember which stop it was. But I still had a lot of fun in Japan and Melbourne going around by myself. Compared to here where I'm consistently always scared.
Yeah,
Here,
here it's not
You
even
want to
safe.
travel here, you have to have someone with you. Or else
You
it's
need
impossible.
you need to have someone with you or you need a friend with a car and the car has to have a big enough
Yes.
boot and it has to not be raining and the car cannot be too tall and your friend has to be quite strong and there's so many things. It's so difficult.
So many factors to put into consideration.
Exactly, which is why we're talking about autonomy right now. There's so many factors when you're disabled. There's so many things you have to think of when you want to do a thing. I timed myself to boil water. Okay, not boil water, make hard-boiled eggs. And it took me about 10 minutes longer than the normal person in my own kitchen. Because I had to go around the kitchen island multiple times to get the thing that I wanted. So imagine that. But doing just general life stuff, not cooking, going out, going to the mall, everything you do that should take you 15 minutes takes us an hour. So, in conclusion, because it's 11:26, be thankful that you are who you are and you don't have our problems. If you do have our problems, we commiserate with you. Let's use our mouths to complain. Let's use our fingers to send the correct letters to people. I have no idea what that is. I don't know who the Datuk Banda of Kuala Lumpur is. And apparently, as it stands, they're not doing a very good job. They haven't even fixed the pavements in Persiaran Ampang Hilir. Like, dude, do your job. Man, that's all I can say. Like, why do we have you in a position of power? I didn't vote for you. Do you guys have anything else to say before we close off?
Well, like what you said, be grateful and thankful that you don't have to put up with what we have to deal with every single day of our life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. Thank you. I copy paste that.
Copy paste. Select all. Copy paste.
Yeah.
Right. We love you guys. Thank you for listening. And send us questions. Like, follow, subscribe, comment, ask questions, give things that you want to listen to. We have session 9 will be next month. We don't have a topic yet. Hopefully, we will. Thank you for listening. Be safe, be good, and goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.